Can you respond to this? And also, I think, I don't know if I'm correct, but the Home Affairs Minister at that time did admit that they had deployed soldiers to the streets. So were these soldiers deployed with the order to shoot civilians?
Well, one of the good things about having a commission of inquiry is that everybody has a chance to go and speak around the incident. And everybody gets a chance to go and make submissions, including the necessity of not taking as assumed some of the words in the terms of reference. For example, the question of necessity. Although necessity applies well, the question of whether or not it was necessary to deploy the police is different from whether to deploy the army, is different from whether or not it was necessary for them to use force. So necessity might still be an issue. The point is, there is a legal regime that governs the use of force and firearms in policing assemblies. It is informed by the 1979 United Nations Basic Principles on the Use of Force and Firearms. Those basic principles require that when force has been used, there should be an investigation as to why force was used and whether or not its use was necessary, proportionate, or to achieve a legitimate purpose. So the inquiry will address that. The African Commission, where these people are going with their story, the African Commission has a general comment on policing assemblies. It also frowns upon but accepts that sometimes the army might be deployed to assist the police to maintain order. It also talks about the steps that should be taken, before force is used. That is why a commission of inquiry is necessary, to go and look at whether or not those legal regimes have been respected. Also, actually, what's even more important is there is something called the Minnesota Protocol by the United Nations, which requires that when the state causes death, usually for people who are in custody, but you can extrapolate those same principles, the duty to investigate, that the state has a duty to investigate when life is lost, and that investigation must be comprehensive, it must be prompt, and the idea of a commission of inquiry which doesn't close the window on a murder investigation, and his answer to you is illustrative. When we know what happened and why it happened, if the police on the basis of that think that there is a case for murder that needs to be opened, I don't think that there's anything that stops them from doing so. Whether or not, whether or not we can now conclude on the findings of that commission of inquiry, either on the basis of Mr. Monzora's gripe with the Love Maduku because he wrote an article that was critical of the MDC, which is normal if you are competing against somebody, is not something we should be doing now. But it's a problem that the MDC has persistently shown. And I'll be brief. Just before the elections, they went out on a campaign to discredit ZEC's credibility, so that when they lose, they can point to ZEC's lack of credibility as the reason why they lost. In the 2 weeks from when they filed their petition, they went on a campaign to discredit the Constitutional Court on the basis that if they then lose, they will then be able to say, oh, that is why we lost. Right now, there's a commission that has been set up. 2 of those people, they have problems with. They don't care about the fact that those 2 clearly can't outvote everybody else. But they are going out on a campaign to discredit those people so that if the outcome is not favorable to them, those people that my brother Monzora wants to vote for him at the next Congress will say, yes, they never accepted these people, so he must be good for us. This is what they do.
Let Mr.